post. Coach Darren Yappy subs in with the score still tied. Rafa comes out, and it kind of seems like a questionable decision with penalties looming, but it ends up, obviously, you know how it turned out. Just your thoughts on Darren coming in and scoring the winner.
Yeah, look, he's had a couple of big goals this year. His first two, I think it is. But yeah, look, what I would say is our team responds, right? Like, that's a good team that we played tonight, and we got pushed to the limit in every way, physically, emotionally, tactically, and I give our group a lot of credit that they stick to it, and that they responded in the big moments, even when they tie the game. Toluca, that we have a big response to score 2 goals, and that we were able to dig deep. And that was the message before the game, that this will be a night in the high-performance teams. What makes them good is the ability to stick together and dig deep in tough moments. And that was the message, and I got to see it up close. Part of that was the subs. Part of it was Yappy's will there. It was a good play. You get down the channel. So I love that the boys found a way on a tough night against a really good team.
Matt Pollard, Burgundy Wave. Chris, it was Darren who had the winner, but Zach Steffen with several big saves throughout the match. I know we've asked you about this. What have you seen from him, given everything that he's worked on to just really focus? And what can you say about just his elevated form in these huge games?
Yeah, Matt, listen, you've heard me say it, when we have conversation, even externally here publicly, how important Zach has been to this club. And, he is, he's a winner, but most importantly, he's an example to all of his teammates, what it should look like: winning behaviors, winning habits, the way he shows up, the work ethic, all the things that we want to be about as a club. He walks it and lives it every day. And I've seen that all year. So I've seen a guy that's been really steady, some big games. He always wants all the goals back to do better. You got to see him and Sharpie, the way those guys critique. So, I'm not surprised. I'm happy. I've said it. We're thrilled to have Zach. He steps up, gives us a big performance. And another day at the office for him.
Chris, Mitchell Carroll with DNVR Sports. Obviously, with the news surrounding center back situation here with the club, you have Lawless step in, as he has for the last few games, and just have a pretty class performance. What were your thoughts on the back line tonight, and Lawless in particular?
Listen, they were loading our back line 6, 7 guys, right? It's a difficult task. They're playing through, they're playing over, they're big diagonals. It's a tough task. We stuck with it. We stuck with the principles: how to defend crosses, defend certain spaces. 4 or 5 guys getting on the same page. So we knew that would be tough, but video doesn't solve that. If you went to 5 in the back, it necessarily doesn't solve that. So to see those guys just stick to it, stick together on the same page, put out fire after fire. They score a good goal there, but a lot of the chances are these crosses, headers that are, wasn't such clear looks, and you have to suffer, and they did. So these guys, they blew me away tonight, the way they stuck together and really were able to show the grit and dig deep.
Okay. Chris, Vinny Benedetto with the Denver Gazette. I know you weren't here for the entirety of Darren's time with the first team, but he had to wait for that first team goal. Before that, did you sense any frustration for him being a young guy? And now that he's bagged a goal of that magnitude, what do you think that can do for him going forward?
It'll do wonders. That will be important for his confidence. But what will do more for him as a footballer and as a young man is to be able to that we show faith in the player. A 19-year-old to come on the field in a big moment and meet the demands. He had some lovely, beautiful plays to keep plays alive, to help, building a few of the attacks, hold up play, a great touch out of the air. I I don't know if I should say this, Zidane-like. But yeah, he pulls one over the shoulder. So yeah, it's the performance, I think, and then part of the victory to be out there while it was determined. Pressure on the ball in moments. We needed some pressure on the ball. So I think those things are going to help him grow. And of course, strikers like to score goals. So this he'll remember for a long time.
Hi, Keith Richards, team MBS Media. It's a very good run the team has been on. 3 straight wins against Liga MX teams, 2 of which come with goals at the death and 1 on penalties. What can you say about the resiliency of these teams that they can just find these moments consistently to be able to pull out the wins?
Yeah, look, I knew back in the first game of the year in the second half in Portland that showed me a lot of who my boys were. I got to see it, the response then on an opening night with all the optimism in the world to take it on the chin that night, and that they stuck together and that they actually stood tall in a tough moment. And I think that somewhere along this way of the season, where is there a turning point? And I think early on we showed ourselves who we were. Of course, we've grown since then. We've gotten better. These 3 games have tested us, in big ways, and even the Portland. But so yeah, listen, Keith, I've gotten to see that team. They're a joy to work with. They make us all, our fans, proud. When you're a coach, if you can design that team and cultivate, an environment that what does that team look like in the end? Of course, you'd want the grit and that mental toughness, but the way they stick together. So, yeah, I love that's the DNA of this group. That's it.
Ian McClintock with the Sports Forum Media Company. Coach, congratulations on making it to the quarterfinals at this stage in the season. Just wanted to go back and kind of look at some of the numbers. Toluca, they came away, as far as possession-wise, nearly doubling what your team was able to put out there on the pitch. Obviously not what you would want to see from the guys, but what can you say about the guys making the most for as little of time as they had the ball in their control here tonight?
Yeah, look, we knew it could look that way. Some of it was deliberate, and some of it is that they're just really good on the ball. We tried to control certain spaces on one side of the pitch, dropping Johnny Lewis a little bit lower. They didn't have a whole lot of answers on that side, and it then became the diagonal balls. So we thought one of the areas to maybe hurt them was transition. That because they load our back line 6 and even 7 players in moments, that this is challenging. So of course we would have liked to have the ball a bit more to control the game, but we thought the best way would be in transition, the way it was going. So we had some unforced errors, some unforced giveaways that hurt us a bit. But again, that team puts you under it. They put you under stress when they have the ball, when we have the ball. So listen, guys, it's just not one of those days to see how many beautiful passes you can make. It just wasn't going to be one of those. So amazing that we were able to do enough, especially when it mattered most, that our guys still could put together the football, to put together a couple of really good plays that get us the game winner.
Chris, Sam Vines with the primary assist to Navajo on the goal, and he's had 3 straight games, where I think the opposition, has, tried to go at him, and he's had difficult challenges defensively and worked through those. Your thoughts on that, given what he said to me and others about how he's working through his game and finding ways to contribute that, even when he has difficult nights with defensive responsibilities, he can still contribute in the attack.
Yeah, look, Sam Vines, he stands tall. He stands tall, and he's up for it. He's a competitor, and he's a winner. So, in MLS, where teams are spending big money in the wide areas, is it 26 for 26 almost in terms of games with we think we played 26, right? I think so. And now even here, teams are loading our back line. They keep guys in the pockets, in the half spaces. They have a winger wide, fullbacks. But look, Sam's up for it. I think he stood tall. He's a tough matchup. I mean, if you look those are top quality players he's up against, and he's up for it. And then to see that he's able to win a lot of duels on the day, aerial duels, 1v1 situations, and then also to have a big moment to help us get the goal. So we're growing, we're learning. He's part of that, and games like that will teach you a lot. We'll look at it, we'll learn from it. All the boys, Sam included.
Coach, there was a moment there where Stefan took some treatment on the field. Poetry was warming up on the sideline. He obviously finished the rest of the game and looked okay, but is there anything there, anything you guys would be worried about?
No, I'm not. Even when he was down, I knew we had a little bit of time to try to tactically talk to Cole Bassett, a little bit dropping lower, help with the diagonals. But no, he's good. Zach Stefan's good. No issue there.
Do you have any more questions?
Chris,
ahead.
walk me through your emotions with a goal from Georgie getting called off, and how are you individually dealing with that chaos, given what we've seen
With chaos? With what? With what?
with chaos, given the goal that was disallowed and the team coming back to score, and your emotions through that whole roller coaster?
It was at that very moment we had, I believe it was Yappy and Kamani ready to come on. They were coming on. I'm not sure exactly the moment, but we celebrated, thought it was good. Then it's always a little damper on it. But we were saying, hey, if the goal counts, let's do this. If it doesn't count, let's do this. And what I remember in the moment was Yappy was coming on regardless, and Cole Bassett would have stayed, and Kamani wouldn't have went on in that moment. Oliver would have stayed on the pitch as well. So that's it. We were being aggressive in that moment, Matt, to try to push for the winner in regulation. We were being aggressive with Yappy and Kamani, and just had to make a quick change if the goal counted. We held the Kamani one for a few more minutes.
Don Pablo Rapids Rant, your thoughts on Moise Bombito moving on to France, Coach?
Listen, it's nothing's official yet. With that, listen, this is what I know, and I think I know most in the room here. It's didn't see him today. The injured guys who's still carrying something didn't train yesterday. So yeah, listen, we love Moise. If there's an opportunity, man, we're his biggest fans. Then, right? I think all of us should be, and we'll wait and see what the latest news is. I'll get updated after the game here with him, but didn't see him because of the injury, actually.
Okay, with this, we've come to the end of the press conference. Thank you so much, Coach, for
Thank
being
you very
here.
much. Thank you.
We will shortly continue with Toluca's press conference.